This is Pace the Nation.
When you climb up that hill, well, eventually you'll come down. If the wind's at your back, you never wear a frown. You're waiting on that second wind to begin to kick in.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into Pace the Nation, broadcasting back here at Studio 1A in downtown Arlington, Virginia. We are back in the heart of all things for episode 279 of Pace the Nation. I'm again flying solo, and I promise you, Julie will be back very, very soon. A lot going on that we will get into on her next appearance on Pace the Nation, but we are excited to be back in Arlington, of course, the heart of all things. And we are back with an Arlingtonian guest this week. Excited to have my buddy, friend of the show, who's been on a couple times before, Michael Wardian. He's going to join us. He's an ultra marathoner. Saying he's just an ultra marathoner is not a very appropriate description of what Michael Wardian is. But we're going to talk to him about all he's doing currently. He just ran across the country this summer, which was incredible. He raised a lot of money for some great causes. And he's just, I don't know how he has enough hours in the day to do all the things that he does. He's just a couple years older than me. And the fact that he can do what he does, I just feel really inferior, but really excited to have Michael Wardian on the program. So let's not delay. Next up, excited to have ultramarathoner Michael Wardian joins us here on Pace the Nation.
Pace the Nation is brought to you by Pacers Running Stores. Pacers has 6 stores in Northern Virginia and DC. For the best running footwear, apparel, and gear, just stop by or schedule a virtual fitting with the best running experts in the business. Pacers Running exists to help as many people as possible through running. For every run, it's Pacers Running.
All right, welcome back to the program. And now we are excited to be joined by a buddy of mine. He is a phenomenal ultra marathoner. Among a lot of other things, Arlingtonian Michael Wardian joins us. Mike, how are you, man?
Hey, I'm good, man. How are you guys?
Dude, we're doing great. Thank you for joining in such short notice. Really appreciate you. You've been on you're not like a filler guest. Like if I don't have anybody, I'm like, I always can go to Mike, but you kind of are. So I always appreciate you being available, because there's always so much to talk to you about, because you're always doing something. So I got a number of questions for you. We want to talk about you run across the country. I want to talk about what you're doing next. I want to talk about just your life in general. You and I have known each other for 20 plus years. But before we get going, let's remind our audience a little bit of the Mike Wardian backstory. Lacrosse player at Michigan State, got into running late, right? And tell the story how you really got into running.
Yeah, I did. I played lacrosse in high school and around here at Oakton High School, and then, which is funny because there's so many good runners from Oakton now, like Kara D'Amata,
I know,
and then Jacob Fry, who's like he's like the mayor of Minneapolis.
Yep.
Yeah, and we all he and I are from like the exact same neighborhood out in Oakton, but yeah, went to Oakton High School as a lacrosse player, played Division I lacrosse at Michigan State, stopped playing lacrosse like kind of middle end of my junior year, picked up running to stay fit, decided to run the Boston Marathon, but first needed to get a qualifier at the Marine Corps Marathon, qualified for Boston at Marine Corps, running around 3:06. And
what year is this? This is in late 90s?
1996. So graduated from college in 96, ran Marine Corps, quickly after graduating from Michigan State, and I think I ran my first Boston in 1997. And then I was hooked. I was absolutely like blown away by the support and just what it felt like to be a runner. And between Marine Corps and Boston, I decided to try to break 3 hours in the marathon. Did that at Boston. I think I ran 2:54, and then that's where you guys came in.
That's
I
right.
strolled into Pacers thinking I was hot stuff.
We had one store in Old Town Alexandria. You stroll in and you're going to run on our racing team. And the coach at the time,
like, yeah, that's exactly right, man. You know the story better than me, maybe.
Yeah, the coach at the time, Bill Stearns, as our coach now, Jerry has a very, high standard. You didn't quite make the cut for the Pacers racing team at the time, which is hilarious. So what did you do? You didn't go home and say, all right, I'm not going to make it. I'm not going to try that anymore. You just kept showing up. Is that correct?
Pretty much. Yeah. They were like, hey, dude, you're, and what's funny now is like, you and I know, like a lot of the people that work at Pacers are like, amazing runners, right? So like I was probably going in and talking to like a 2:28 marathon runner being like, yeah, look how sweet I am.
I just ran 3:54. Come on. Yeah.
I ran 2:54. Like, yeah, look at me, put me on your team. And 2:20 or 2:18 or whatever is a big difference. But they were nice enough to be like, hey man, we have some track workouts on Tuesday nights. You can come and join the group, and if you do a good job, like we'll think about it. And so that's basically what I did. Is I every Tuesday I would go to the track workout, and I'm still friends with these guys. I started with a guy named Jim Bembo and Rick Poppleton in kind of like the intermediate group, I guess, like, faster than the people that are going couch to 5K, but slower than the guys that were on the team. And over the course of like 6 months, worked my way up from kind of that intermediate group to the, next level below them, and then kind of into their group. And then I heard they were all going to this race called the Wawa 10 miler. And I was like, hey, I'm going to go to that race and try to run with those guys. And I think I ended up coming in second to Jeff Van Horn, who owns Lucky Foot. And he, after I finished the race and I beat everybody but him on the team, they're like, hey, you want to be on the team? And I was like, heck yeah, man. I thought I had like, I thought I had made it, dude. Yeah, so, I mean, and I was so happy to be on that team. Like that was like, qualifying for, being able to play at Michigan State, like, making the team there. And then this was kind of like the first step on, my way to becoming like a professional runner. And I didn't know it at the time. I was just like so excited just to get a singlet and get a couple pairs of free shoes. But, those are the kind of interesting things that can change the course of someone's life.
I think it did for me. It's a great story, and it really shows who you are as a person, because it says this has happened throughout your life, and this is 20 plus years ago, your life as a runner, and probably your life as just in general. Somebody says you can't do it, and you just say, why can't I do it? And you go out and you do it. And it's insane what you've done, and it's well documented on our podcast, or just Google Michael Wardian, and you can find all the crazy things you have done throughout the years. But I think that's a great story of who you were and who you still are today.
Yeah, man, it's cool. Like it's kind of like I'm owner of an international ship brokerage now, but I didn't start out as the owner. I started out as the guy making copies. And when I got out of school, they gave me a job as basically the gopher slash, answering the phone secretary. And 20 years later, I'm one of the owners of the company. And so like, a lot of times you just need to get your foot in the door, right? And just keep believing in yourself, and you keep putting the work in, and good things happen, or at least that's, what's worked for me, which is, lucky.
Well, I wanted to talk to you about your run across the country, and again, that's been well documented by a lot of outlets. The Washingtonian did an amazing write up on that. You can
Yeah,
check
that
out.
turned out really
Yeah,
good,
really
dude.
awesome. Yeah, so check out the Washingtonians. I think it was last month's print copy. It's online as well. You
Yeah.
decided you were going to run from San Francisco to Rehoboth Beach, and not only were you going to do it, you were going to do it in a very short period of time, running 50 miles a day.
Yeah.
It's just an amazing, like, the idea of that you actually being able to do that blows my mind. Where did the idea come from, and why 50 miles a day? Why did you want to do it so fast?
Yeah, I mean, the idea came from Forrest Gump. Like, I'd say, like, that was for sure for me one of the inspirations for it. Like, when I saw that movie, and I mean, it's arguably for me one of the coolest running scenes is just seeing him, um, out on the road. Like, and and it's kind of a progression as an athlete too. Like, he starts in just like street clothes, and then
Yep.
by the end he's like looks like he's been on the road his whole life, right? And
Yep.
it's cool, and it's a short period of time, but it's also it was inspiring to me to see how like he captivated all these other people's attention, and and there were definitely moments on my run across the country where someone was like, "Wow, this is just like Forrest Gump." It'd have like 60 or 70 people running with me, and if I'd stop, everyone would stop, and if I'd say something, like people would be like, "Oh, wow, that's
And I
that's
did run with
crazy."
it. I ran with you in Arlington. I'm going to tweet out a video at Pace the Nation. I ran with him in
Yes.
Arlington, and he's not lying. There was
No,
like
no.
30 of us there, and we did a quick video together, which was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So why 50 miles a day though? I mean, that is just pushing the limits of what even is possible for you, I would think.
Right. Well, and that was actually I mean, a couple of reasons. Like, being the owner of a business, like the longer I'm away, the harder it is for everybody involved. So like, I wanted to get back as quick as I could. In 2019, I ran across Israel and set a record there, what's known as a FKT, or a fastest known time, breaking a record for, it was like 1,000 kilometers, and I did it in a little over 10 days. So
Mhm.
basically 10, like 100K a day, which is, for people that
60
aren't
some
like,
miles. Yeah.
yeah, it's like 62, 63 miles. And I knew that that would be, yeah, I know at the end of that 10 days, I was pretty, wiped out. And I was thinking like, oh, that would be kind of cool to average that for the run across the country. But having never run more than 10 days straight, I wanted to kind of choose a target that would be hard, but hopefully manageable, and something that I could do day after day for, you know, I thought it was going to probably take me around 75 days, and it actually ended up taking around 61 days. So
Yeah.
I definitely was well ahead of my projection. But I didn't have it firm. I wasn't like, and I didn't take any rest days. So it was, 61 straight days of 50. It actually averaged out to, I think, 52 miles a day, with my shortest day being like 49.88, because I miscalculated kilometers to miles also. And then my longest day was like 104 miles in a little under 24 hours. So, there was some range between the 50 miles, but I was trying to get in over 50 miles every day. And I wanted it to be hard, man. I didn't
Yeah.
want it to be easy, like, and I didn't want it to take, all summer. And people have different ways they want to do it. I did it, was supported. I hired a guy named Eric Bells to crew me, and rented an RV, and I had sponsors, including you guys. So thank you very
Yep.
much for shipping out some shoes to help me. And I run for Hoka, so it was nice to get shoes from Hoka, and from you guys. As part of that kind of rerun program that you guys are doing. So
Yep.
that was really cool to like
No,
get
we
a chance to kind
appreciate
of,
the relay
yeah,
shoes that we got out to you. I was glad they worked
yeah,
out, and It was supported, but I mean, it doesn't take away from still having to run
Yeah.
50 miles every single day. And give him a follow. It's at Mike Wardian on Instagram. You can see a lot of the journey on Instagram, which I thought you did a really nice job there.
Oh
Also,
yeah,
if,
thank
if
you.
you're on if you're on Strava, give him a follow, Michael Wardian. It was incredible to see your weekly totals of
Yeah, dude.
350 miles a week, every
Yeah.
single week for 60 some odd days.
Yeah, man. Next year, when I get to like May and June, it's gonna be like, you suck. You've only done like 100 miles this week. Like
Right.
you're off pace. But yeah, it was for me. It was cool just to be like before that. The longest I had run continuously was I did a thing called the Backyard Ultra, and I
Yep.
ended up winning that, running like 262 miles. So in like 60, 63 hours, I think 62, 63 hours. And so for me, the 10 days across Israel was a good kind of precursor, but I didn't know what it was going to be like to, put my body through that. And then, you're also worried about, when you get out the other side, what's that mean for you going forward? And so,
Yep.
I'm kind of navigating that now, like, the fatigue and, you've trained your body to run. I was running probably 12. I think my shortest day was maybe 10 and a half hours, and my longest day was 24 hours, but I'd say most days were 6 in the morning to 6 at night, so 12 hours a
Mm.
day. So you get used to running. Not I wasn't running the paces that I normally run, so you have to train your body to kind of start picking up the pace and learning what that feels like again after training yourself to run slow but steady for so long. So that's been really interesting, that navigating that back, and then the fatigue levels, and then just kind of getting back into, regular life.
Right. When I want to talk about, and we could go on about the run across America, but we got limited time here.
Yeah.
I want to go back to what you were just talking about and where you are running wise now, because it is hard to shift gears from running 50 miles a day to like regular life. So it
Yeah.
sounds like, which makes a lot of sense to me, as you're an owner at your ship brokerage firm, which is Potomac Maritime.
Maritime.
Yep. So
Maritime.
you're
Yep.
yep. So you're an owner there. So you had to get back to work. I mean, you get
Yeah.
you're paid professional runner, but you also have a full time gig, a family, 2 kids. I want to talk about that as well. But
Yeah.
were you able to work at all when you were on the road?
I was working, yeah. So,
Wow.
I mean, I wasn't working like I actually hired a really great dude, Mark Cody, to work with us, and he's a fellow Arlington resident. We've known each other a
Nice.
long time, but so I hired him about a year and a half before I left. So we trained him up, and he was ready to go, and he did an amazing job. So he kind of was able to shoulder a lot of what I was doing, but there were times when when I needed to jump in, and so there were some days where I'd run 10 or 11 miles in 100-degree heat, and then had to tether my phone to my laptop to help out with something, or like review some documents or something like
Yep.
that. So, I definitely didn't have the normal workload that I do, but I was, trying to check in, and I was always available. So, if there was any questions or anyone needed anything, then I was there. But I was trying to, do as little as I could, but there was still stuff that came
Yeah, that
up
had to
and
get
I
done
needed
as
to.
a business owner,
Yeah.
dude. I get it, and so
Yeah.
your job is getting products, that are outside the country on boats to different places around the world. Is that essentially a good Cliff's Notes version of what you do?
Yeah, pretty much. Except most of our stuff is actually sourced here in the U.S.
Okay.
So it's humanitarian food aid shipments going all around the world. So if people want to check out another thing, like there's a pretty cool movie called Captain Phillips, and
Yeah.
that was our ship that ended up getting hijacked, and so like it kind of shows a little bit about what it looks like with the containers and whatnot. But I mean, hijackings aren't that normal at the moment, but they're part of what
Right.
we deal
Part of
with.
what you deal with in your work life.
Yeah.
So you're juggling that. And this is, I mean, that's a full-time gig. People don't understand, as much as you're running, That's a full-time gig. How have you been able to juggle it all? Like what it's not even when you're running across the country, but just now when you're running a healthy amount of mileage and wife and
Yeah.
kids, how are you able to juggle it all?
I think that it's just part of, you and I've talked about this many times because, we both have a lot of things going on and, I want to, honor my obligations, but, I also want to, chase my dreams. And so like, I wake up early, man. I think that's one of the keys for me is, getting up early. I had my first workout at 5:30 this morning,
Mhm.
came home, did another run after that. Did some stuff for the Marine Corps marathon and 50K after that, while I was checking my phone and doing work. So like, the cool thing now is like with technology, you can kind of be almost anywhere you want to be and still be accessible and keep up on things. And so that's made it a lot easier for me. I mean, there were times over the years, where I'm in some weird mountain range somewhere trying to find Wi-Fi, and now a lot of times you can just tether to your phone, right? And
Yeah.
so like having that ability to be in contact has made a huge difference. And I'm not afraid to ask for help too. I think
Mhm.
when I was younger, I think I wanted to try to do more, and I think one of the keys is trying to put a good team in place. And so my wife Jennifer is super supportive, and she's always willing to help, and then have great sponsors, and then people that I work with, and our clients are fantastic too. So just I brought them in on this, and I wouldn't have done it if I didn't have their support. So
Yep.
I just said, hey, I really want to do this, and you'll be surprised at how many people are willing to help.
To help. That's amazing. And you're also involved heavily in your family, which is also, again, check them out, Mike Wardian. I like that you put some stuff on your kids. So your kids are,
Yeah,
so you and I are in different spots. We're similar ages and we're
I'm a
runners
little
ourselves,
bit
but
a little bit ahead of you.
you're ahead of me. You got almost have high school kids. How the kids,
Almost college kids,
oh,
man.
yeah, I mean, I've got a 6-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 1-year-old. But
Yeah.
how is it raising the high school, almost college kids, Pierce and Grant?
Yeah, Pierce is just turned 16, so I'm basically like 10 years ahead of you, and Grant's 13 going on 14.
Yep.
Dude, it is, and I know people say this, and I actually knew this, but like it's the coolest, and each stage is special, but it goes by like I know it's so cliche, but it goes by super fast. It feels like just the other day I was trying to you know get them out of the jog stroller without them punching each other, and now Pearson I actually Pierce has to do 50 hours of driving, and I was like, dude, we could just drive across the country together and get all your miles and all your hours in. And he's like, yeah, that sounds like maybe a good idea. And so like it just changes. But it's really cool. He's got a girlfriend. He's running cross country,
Awesome.
um, and our son Grant is playing football at WNL. So like, it's awesome.
It's
Like
awesome.
it, and
Very
and
cool.
the other and Grant's decided that he wants to get super strong and fit. So like, he's been going to football practice, and then he comes home and we go for like a 2 or 3 mile run, and he's going to start lifting weights and stuff. So like, it just it's just neat to see what they get passionate about, and then you just try to foster it as much as you
And,
can.
and 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 I would say that is Jennifer the CEO of the house, or what's her role in this?
Not just the house, man.
Probably the most
Like,
important role, probably I would imagine, right?
yeah, for sure, man. She's definitely one of the most important people in my life, and
Yeah.
she's for sure heavily involved in everything, and she makes life better for all of us. So she's taking care of the house. We've got two Vishlas, which are high energy, and she handles their social media for Rosie and Bash, and she's doing the shopping and just making sure everything works. And so
Yeah.
that's a job that I mean, I know that you and Julie,
Yeah.
are both working, but
Yeah.
she's dedicated to trying to make life better for
Oh, it's a
us.
team
And
sport, man. It's a team sport, and
dude,
she's
yeah,
obviously a,
it's
a big part of it.
Yeah, man,
No,
it's awesome. Like,
no doubt about it. All right. So I heard your dogs barking in the background. Two Vizslas. Again, we connect on that. I've got a hunting dog, GSP. So two,
yep,
I mean, you guys couldn't
London.
stop with one. You couldn't stop with one dog.
Oh
You
my
had to get
gosh, man,
two.
I would keep getting them, man. They're so cool.
They are cool.
So yeah, man, we are really on the Vizsla train. We
Yeah.
love the breed, and I know London's kind of that same ilk, right?
Yeah.
Like high energy, smart, loving, and yeah, it's
And we'll do some runs with you, which is awesome. So,
yeah,
um,
totally.
what? All right. So I'm going to get back to your running in just 1 second here, but you've got this side obsession with pickleball now, and I got to ask you about that.
Dude,
You
it's
know,
not a side obsession.
yeah,
It's like
it's
a
like
full on obsession,
I
man.
mean, something's got to be on the side here because you've got so much going on. So
Yeah.
what is it about pickleball that you're drawn to, and what are you playing a lot? Like, I don't know that world at all.
Well, it's funny. I didn't know that world either until about a year ago in May. My friend, like, I had heard about it, probably like you. You've probably like heard
Oh,
or know
definitely,
somebody that's played,
definitely.
and you're like, and I was just like, oh, dude, that's just like an old people sport. It's kind of like bridge. Like, I know people play bridge, but I
Shuffleboard.
don't really know how to play bridge.
Yep.
And so my buddy, again, it's Rick Poppleton.
Yeah, there
He
we go.
took
The
me
Pacers
to,
connection.
yeah, totally, man.
Yep.
And we're still friends, and we just got a place in Rehoboth Beach,
Yep.
and so he has a place in Dewey in Delaware, and we were talking. He's like, "Hey, dude, if you want to come play some pickleball," and I was like, "Oh, that sounds interesting. Like, I heard about it." So I ran quickly out to Walmart, bought a couple, terrible paddles. We The kids and I went and played, and I was just like, wow, this game has like it's such a um, clever game because it makes it equal for almost everybody, especially when you start, right? Like
Hmm.
it's really easy to pick up. By the end of the game, I was like, man, I love this. I quickly got like a real paddle. And then I've been playing pretty much nonstop for about a year and a
Wow.
couple months now. Wait,
Except for
well,
when you
I
ran
had,
across the
yeah.
country. Yeah,
Well,
you
there
stopped
were
in.
some guys from Arlington that brought a net out and set it up in West Virginia so I could play a game. So shout out to them for doing that for me. But that, yeah, pretty much, yeah, I took a little bit of a break, but yeah, I'm really into it, and we're super lucky here in Arlington. There's a really amazing group called the Arlington Iron Paddles, and they're some of the best players I've ever played with, and so I was lucky to be. It's awesome, kind of being a beginner, and I'm getting my ass kicked on the regular, but every time you do that, you get a little bit better, right? And so I'm a little bit better than I was a week ago, and it's not, what's annoying is kind of like running. It's not always linear progression, right? So
Right.
some days a run feels easy, and some days the same run can feel like tragically hard, and I feel like that's the same thing
So
about pickleball.
what's the end game for pickleball? Are you going to become a professional pickleball player? I mean, I wouldn't put it past
Dude, yeah, that's the. I mean, I hopefully that's not the end game, but that's where I'm trying to get, and that's what's cool about this group that I'm in is everybody's got that kind of vision and passion for it. So we were getting up at like 5:30, 6 in the morning playing in the summer, and I'm playing little pop-up tournaments to get ready to having money on the line, and
Wow.
what it feels like to have that kind of pressure, and then the guys and girls are just a little bit better than me too. So I'm scratching and clawing just to stay in the points, and it's super hardcore, but like everybody's got that dedication to their craft, and for me it's awesome too because it just reminds me of like what I had to put in to achieve anything, and most of the things I've done in life is like you just got to be consistent and dedicated and work on your game and or craft, whatever that is, and that's where I think I've excelled in the past, and hopefully I can coming up in the future. And
Well,
yeah, I mean,
I was
yeah,
impressed. I was impressed with just your own on Instagram. Again, Mike Wardian, the way you manipulated the ball and you bounced it off the side of the racket. It was pretty
oh, dude.
impressive, man. So I
Oh,
think
dude,
you
that's
got it.
yeah, man. I'm gonna try to post more of those because I've even got some new tricks. But yeah, man, that's like the little fun little, and I've been working on like between the leg shots and some
Nice.
tweeners, and there's some little really cool shots. Like I the other day I just hit, like, I don't know if you know what an ATP is, but it's around
Mhm.
the post, and so it's kind of like when the ball like careens off the side of the your side of the court, and you kind of it looks like it's going to go out of bounds, and you hit it and you don't actually go over the net, you go
The
around the net.
side
And
of the
like,
net. Okay.
yeah, some of those shots are just so amazing. And it's because I'm playing with better players, and know it's possible. And then I mean, right now it's an amazing time in general for, if there's something you want to learn about, we all have the
Oh
power
yeah.
on our phones to see the best players in the world and what they do and what their training regimen looks like. And you can follow what they're doing. And it's a real big shortcut to learning the skills, because before you'd have to be in proximity and maybe
Yep.
go to a clinic or
Have a coach. Yep.
yeah, exactly. And like, I mean, some of that stuff is like, and just learning to where to be on the court, like that's what that's the kind of stuff where having better players, like they'll tell you, or
Yep.
you'll get pinged with a ball in the face or the shoulder, and that next time, wow, that's possible, like I was playing.
Yep.
And it's kind of cool too, just to learn like the lexicon and the culture and the etiquette. And yeah, it's like learning a
Well,
new language or
I'm
something.
not going to bet against you, man. You could probably be a professional in that world too. I'm not going to bet against you. All right, just a couple
Yeah.
more here for Michael Wardian, ultra marathon running extraordinaire. Back to what your current running now. You're looking at Marine Corps marathons, 50K. I can't wait for the in-person Marine Corps marathon to happen.
Oh
Plus the
man, me too.
ultra. It's going to be awesome. Hasn't happened since 2019 when you won the 50K there at Marine Corps.
Yeah.
Is that your next big race? What are you thinking? You probably got a lot coming up, but is that what you're kind of targeting? And how are you feeling? We touched on it before. How are you feeling after running 350 miles a week this summer? Legs feeling okay? Kind of dead? Where are you at? Where are you going, and where are you at currently?
Yeah, man, good question. So the Marine Corps 50K is a little ways off. It's at the end of October. It's kind of the nearing the end of September. So I actually just jumped in a 100-mile race for next Friday. So I think that's the 30th of September. So that'll be kind of a good test to just kind of see where my legs are for the longer stuff. I feel like my legs are there for the longer stuff. I've done a couple of 5Ks and they're a little bit slower than what I'm usually doing. And so like the speed is just coming back. So I've been starting to get back on the track, but my legs feel still a little bit hollow, which is weird, but I kind of knew that. And it's kind of also, I'm building up kind of my strength. Yeah, I'm getting excited for the season ahead and the future. Like I've got some big, once you do one of these kind of big projects, you get excited about what else you can do. And so I'm looking forward to, maybe running the Appalachian Trail, or definitely running the Appalachian Trail, but I'm just trying to
Nice.
figure out when I can make that work. And then I've got this dream to like row across the Atlantic Ocean. And so like
Row.
yeah, like rowing, like
Oh my God.
and so yeah, so I'm definitely don't have the skills yet for all my dreams,
Right.
but yeah, I feel like there's a lot of projects that are
All right, so
out there that
the
are
50,
exciting.
but the 50K where we can find you, 50K this fall, and then I'm sure Pacers
Yep.
local road races. We got to get you in the Veterans
Oh,
Day
for sure, dude.
10K,
Yeah,
and
man.
some other stuff we got coming up. We'll have to get you going on that. All right, and I'm going to get you out of here, Mike. But I have to close with what I thought you did was amazing for World Vision. I saw you in a suit the other day. I don't see you in
Yes.
a suit very frequently. Talk about the $100,000+ you raised for World Vision, that charity. What on your run across the country, and what were you doing in a
Yeah.
suit?
Yeah, both those things are, yeah, the run across the country was to benefit clean water projects around the world for World
Okay.
Vision USA. And so the goal was to raise $100,000. And I think that was actually, to me, a little bit scarier than even the run, because I've never raised that much money for
Mm.
anything, let alone like a charity that I'm, very passionate about. So I wasn't sure if it was going to happen. And even with a week to go, like we weren't close. And so I just want to thank everyone that donated. It was incredible. Like each $50 that's raised changes one person's life. So we changed, I think, over 2,000 people's lives
Wow.
with the money that's been raised. And we didn't just we didn't just get to 100,000, but we actually surpassed that. And so as of today, I think we're at $121,000, and I
Amazing,
think we're going
man.
to be up to like $125,000. And so now it's just opened up this whole world to me of like, wow, maybe we could try to raise $1 million for World Vision. And so I've got some ideas to, do a Guinness World Record regarding pickleball. So I'm kind of working on that. And then next year I'm doing the LA Marathon as Forrest Gump to try to set the world record
As a Forrest Gump.
as Forrest Gump, yeah, for a marathon. So
What's the record
um,
there? What is the time you have to
it's
be?
actually a pretty good record. My friend Rob has it. It's 2:36 or so. So I
Wow.
mean, it's not
6-minute
like
place
4 hours.
plus. Yeah,
Yeah,
right. Wow.
exactly. So
Wow.
it'll be fun to try to go for that next year and at the LA Marathon. And then yeah, man, it's been really cool, like just to see how much of an impact one person can have. But one of the coolest things I think about the fundraising was a lot of times when you raise this much money, it's from like a company or one person or something or a group. And I think if I have it right, we had the most amount of donors that have ever donated to a single cause.
Right. So everybody's donating 10, 20, $50, right?
Yeah,
So it
dude.
wasn't
And
like,
that's what
wow, that's unbelievable, man.
I mean, there are some bigger donations,
Sure.
like and so one of them was from Century 21 Redwood Realty. So those guys made a big donation, and that's why I was giving a keynote speech talk at their Recalibrate conference last week, and so I was in a suit for that. And I'm actually about
Oh,
to
okay.
post another picture. I was in a suit
Okay.
last night, actually, because I went out to Maersk Line Limited, who's one of our biggest clients, and they were a big supporter of the run across the country also. And they gave me this huge Happy Gilmore check for World Vision, and so it's been awesome to see people that you work with stepping up and really wanting to be a part of this, and
That's awesome.
it's
Well,
it's really
yeah,
unbelievable,
that's
man.
great. That's great,
So
man. You can
so
check them
thankful.
out. Worldvision.org. Again, Mike Wardian on Instagram is a good way to find out all the stuff that you're doing. At least that's
Yep.
how I keep track of you, man, because you are
Yeah,
kind of
man.
all over the place.
Yeah.
What we really, you and I need to get together for a run. Sometimes I see you on Strava and I'm like, man, I just was, running about 10 minutes away, or we were at the same sort of location. So, anyways, we'll have to coordinate that soon.
Dude,
So,
I would love that, man,
yeah,
for sure, dude. We
awesome.
can go anytime you want.
All
I
right,
have a
we'll
little
do it.
more flexibility now.
Yeah, flex. When you're not playing pickleball, running, you're getting into rowing now. You own this ship company. So yeah,
Yeah,
I think I'm more flexible. Well, you know what? With the young kids, maybe I'm not as flexible, but we'll
it's
get
hard,
together
man.
soon. It is hard. It is hard.
Yeah,
I appreciate you being able to commiserate with me on that. Um,
yeah, man.
well, always great to have Mike Wardian join us. Really appreciate it, man. We'll get you on again soon after you
Cool.
do the next big thing that you do. But congratulations on all your success, and thank you so much for your time today, man.
Hey, same, man. Thanks for thinking of me, and glad I
Yeah.
could fill in.
All right, brother. All right, brother. There he goes. It's Michael Wardian, my buddy.
All right.
Arlingtonian Michael Wardian. He's an ultra marathoning running extraordinary. Join us on Pace the Nation. We're going to take a break. Be right back after this.
Pace the Nation is brought to you by Pacers Running Stores. Pacers has 6 stores in Northern Virginia and DC. For the best running footwear, apparel, and gear, just stop by or schedule a virtual fitting with the best running experts in the business. Pacers Running exists to help as many people as possible through running. For every run, it's Pacers Running.
All right, welcome back to the program. Thanks again to Michael Wardian for joining us on today's program. I felt like we broke a couple stories there. One, that a couple of the next things he wants to do, rowing across an ocean. I don't know. I don't, I don't know how or where or how you would actually go about doing that, but I believe that he can. So that sounds like an amazing potential goal of his. Also, the fact that he's going to be a professional pickleball player. Again, I don't put it past him. I believe that he can do it. So thanks again to Mike for the time. And you weren't just a fill-in, man. You weren't just a fill-in. You're a main course guest. So appreciate you joining us. All right, before we get out of here, wanted to just share some excitement that I had for this past weekend. We had a road race, the half marathon, the DC half marathon happened, and it was just absolutely amazing. I want to give a heartfelt thanks to all the 3,000 plus runners who showed up this past weekend and ran through DC. The race also had a relay component to it, which was amazing. And from me personally, I was out there running it. I felt like we were back. I just felt like this energy was back. We needed to do all the social distancing and the masking and all that stuff in races prior. This one, sold out crowd, amazing energy, people fired up to complete the half marathon, or if they're doing the relay. This was a goal event for many, a training event for many who are doing the Marine Corps Marathon or another fall marathon. It just felt like we are back. It was awesome, and I appreciate everybody who showed up. And I'm just super fired up. I came out of that super fired up for races and this fall racing season. I needed it, so I appreciate everybody who showed up and ran it. We had a lot of great feedback. Big time props to Lisa, who we've had her on the program a number of times. She's our race director. The professionalism of these races that she puts on is just second to none. So props to her. Mark Goldman, the energy he brings when he's announcing is just phenomenal. It feels like a big time event when you have Mark there. He's an announcer at a ton of road races. He's worked for Marine Corps for a number of years. He announces at Georgetown Hoyas basketball games. So just having Mark there makes it feel like a big deal. And just mostly thanks to the runners who showed up, showed out, ran, and brought the energy. The DC community. I mean, I was running through there and there was confetti being thrown on me. I mean, it was amazing. I think that was the Northeast Track Club. A ton of different track clubs out there, groups. Our group from Pacers. I just can't say enough. I'm super excited. So we'll be promoting some more races that are happening this fall that we're going to be a part of. Veterans Day, I know, is happening. A couple turkey trots, and we've got a jingle bell race. So I just cannot recommend what we're doing on the race side enough. So anyways, thanks to Lisa, the crew, for putting on just a flawless, awesome event. And it was just great to be a part of it. All right. We got a big show for in the next couple of weeks. A few awesome guests lined up. So look forward to that. Check us out on Instagram. We are back to posting on Instagram. We got that figured out. Pace the Nation on Instagram. Pace the Nation on Twitter, obviously. And so follow us there, and we'll be posting content of this show and other shows coming down the pipe. All right. Great show. Thanks to our guest, Michael Wardian, today, a runner, ultra runner for Hoka, T-Mobile. He is among many other sponsors that Michael has. Thanks for the time. Arlingtonian Michael Wardian, really appreciate the time today. He's doing some great stuff. All right. Thanks to you, the listener. Julie will be back next week, I promise. All right. So for Michael Wardian, and thanks to Chris behind the scenes, this has been another great episode of Pace the Nation. We will see you next time.